Hey everybody, Covert Prepper here. It's been 1 month since I have purchased this little guy, Benchmade Bugout CF Elite. If you can see that, focus on the camera, but I want to do a little review. 1 month of ownership. I've been carrying it every day, giving it a shot, giving it a fair shake. So I wanted to tell you guys my initial thoughts. I'll kind of go over some details. I know this knife's been reviewed before, but it's been reviewed so much. In fact, there's been so much hype about the Benchmade Bugout in general. This is the new version, the CF Elite, and I'll kind of talk about what the differences are with that one. But there's been so much hype with this knife, I really didn't want to love it because so many people do. And I'm not a Benchmade guy. I've said in previous videos, I've been a Spyderco diehard for a long time. So I didn't want to love this knife, but it's real good. It's a really good knife. And so, not perfect. There are a couple things that I would change if I could, so I'll kind of be running through some of those. But if you're looking for a knife that fits these, some of these criteria that we'll be talking about here in a minute, it's still a great knife. So I'll go over what I like about it, what I don't like about it, what I would change, if anything, and kind of my initial thoughts. So let's go to the bench. So I picked this guy up 1 month ago. I got it from Blade HQ. They were doing like a special where they threw in this cool mat along with the knife. So I picked it up and I've been carrying it ever since, and I just wanted to kind of go over my thoughts and impressions. I know some people are gonna see the Bugout, you know, mat and everything and think, oh, this guy's a Benchmade Bugout fanboy, but I really am not at all. In fact, or at least I wasn't. In fact, when it first came out, I didn't get it. I didn't buy the knife. When I first saw the Benchmade Bugout, it came with the blue scales. I saw it and I was like, meh, you know, okay, it looks like a knife. Like, what's so special about it? And everyone was losing their minds over this knife, and I just didn't understand why it was so special, or what about it made everyone so excited about that knife. So I passed on it. I passed on the first iteration of it. And then they made the one with the green scales, which I thought looked cooler. But still, for what you got, I mean, it's an S30V blade. It's like, okay, lots of knives. I have lots of knives that are S30V. It's, you know, which is a good steel. Don't get me wrong. It's solid steel, but it's nothing exotic or nothing special, right? It's got an axis lock, which is a great lock. I mean, I love the axis lockup. I've had one before, so I had this little mini Griptilian in axis lock, and I liked it. It was pretty good, but again, I didn't think it was anything super special. And then the scales were made out of whatever they call their Grivery, or whatever the Benchmade calls their fancy plastic. So it's like, okay, it's an S30V blade, plastic handles, whatever. And then after carrying it though, this knife, the only way I can kind of describe it is it seems to be one of those things where the whole is more than the sum of its parts. And maybe that sounds cheesy, but it really is. There's nothing about it there's no one feature or set of features that I can look at and say, this knife is just, this is what makes it great. It's just when you carry it and when you open and close it and use it, it just is a great knife. So I'll give you my initial impression. So when I first picked up this knife, I was absolutely blown away by how lightweight it was. How much does it weigh? Let's see here. I think it's, 1.85 ounces. It's crazy. So before that, I had done in a previous video, I was talking a little bit about one of my other knives that I carried, and it was this guy, the Spyderco Chaparral Lightweight, or Chaparral FRN, I think is what they call it. And this thing is tiny and super lightweight. Believe it or not, this guy weighs less than this one. I couldn't believe it, because this was like the lightest knife I'd ever carried. It just like disappeared in your pocket. It just kind of, you know, it was invisible because it was so lightweight and so small. This one actually weighs less. So the CF Elite, CF stands for carbon fiber. So this is their same, I guess it was like, instead of their old Grivery plastic, this time they've infused, you know, little magic molecules of carbon fiber or something in there. But so the main benefit of this one over the old one is it's supposed to be tougher, or it's supposed to be stronger and less flexible. So really the only beef I've ever heard about the Benchmade Bugout has been the handles, right? Because that Grivery plastic has just, when you press on it here, a lot of people have said there's been too much flex there. See, I'm pushing pretty hard. There's not that much flex on this one. So they've strengthened it and kind of overcome that little downside, I guess, if you want to call that a downside. So I have some mixed feelings about that. So part of me says, yeah, you're paying that much money for a knife. This one costs like, I think, $145 or something like that. I forget how much the original one cost, but it was certainly more than $100. And so people will think, for that much money, getting some kind of cheesy plastic handle isn't a very good value. And I get that. And I'll talk about the value here in just a moment, but I don't have a beef with the plastic handles. I really don't. And the reason being is, I think we, in our society, we have this view of things that are premium. A nice, you're wearing like a Rolex or something, you expect it to have some like heft or weight to it, right? So when you see something like this that's got, that's very lightweight, it instantly makes you think of cheap or cheesy, not good quality, which is anything but the truth. I mean, this is very good quality. So I think that's just kind of perception in people's minds more than anything else. And you can't have it both ways. This is one of those where you just can't have it both ways. You can't have it because one of the main selling points of a knife like this is it's so lightweight. It's so lightweight that it disappears in your pocket. You forget it's there. If you need to carry a lot of stuff, this would make an excellent backpacking knife or something like that where every ounce matters. It's excellent. So you can't have it both ways. You can't have a super lightweight knife and then also say, well, it feels cheap. It's like, well, yeah, if it's lightweight, it's gonna kind of feel cheap. So, but I think they really did a good job of with this new one, because it doesn't even, they still were able to retain the lightness. In fact, they even made it slightly lighter while addressing the issue, the beef that most people had with those Grivery handles, is that they were too flexible and they felt kind of chintzy. So, man, Benchmade, well done. They did a really good job of being able to solve people's problems with it without, ruining the knife. And I think putting, if they'd have done G10 or something like that, I think it would have ruined the knife, because the whole, point of this thing is that it's called the Bugout, right? You need to grab a backpack and you need to head out of town or something. I don't know. But we can talk more about bugging out later in another video. But yeah, it was made to be super lightweight and easy to carry. All right, so let's now talk about some of the drawbacks to this knife. No knife is perfect, as we know. Those of us who are on the eternal quest for the perfect pocket knife, right? My wife always wonders, why are you buying another knife? Don't you have a million? I'm like, yeah, I have a million knives, but you don't get it, honey. You don't get it, because no knife is perfect. You're always on the eternal quest for that perfect pocket knife. Although this one is, man, it's real good. It's close. So I will say this. Okay, so a couple of things that I would change if I could. Some people have complained a little bit about this notch here, where it kind of goes in. That doesn't bother me at all. I've never had it snag on anything, but if they did put, add a little bit more metal on the blade in a future version, I don't think that would hurt. But it doesn't bother me at all. Maybe they did that for just a little extra weight savings. I'm not sure, but that didn't bother me at all. Really, if I could change one thing, it would be this. Right here, I wish they had added a finger choil. I like the ability to be able to choke up on a knife and grab it up real high. So like on my old Spyderco that I used to be my daily carry, I love that I could really get up high on it if I needed to. I didn't have to. You can go here if you like, but you've got that option. And along with that, along with the finger choil, maybe a little bit of jimping along the back of the blade there, so you could get a real high grip on it to do some more fine detail work. I would have appreciated that. That's really the one thing that I would change if I could change anything. I've heard other complaints. I've heard some people don't like the lanyard hole. I haven't had any problems with it. And then, a couple other little things that I can't even remember now, but that's really the only downside I think that I can think of. Apart from that, maybe just lack of options. Like there's only 3 versions of the Bugout that I can think of right now. There's this one, there's the original blue one, and then there's the green one. Well, they might have their, what do they call that? The real expensive ones, like their gold class or something. I think they have one of those, but I'm not buying one of those. That's silly. So, my opinion. They have the ones that are like Damascus steel or whatever, but that's not a working knife. That's like a fancy collector's knife, and I'm not into that. So, but apart from that, if you're talking about just a regular knife to carry, yeah, I think they just have the 3 models. So I would love to see more colors. I would love to see different types of steel. If they put a little more, you know, have like a sprint run of something cool with a different color handle and you know, more premium steel than S30V. Man, I might be tempted to buy another one if that were the case. But as it is, S30V is a fine steel. I really like the short pocket clip and the fact that it is deep carry. I love that. So that's really good. I guess if we're nitpicking, those screws could have been recessed. Recessed screws are much nicer. If you don't know what I'm talking about, how they kind of stick up there, they could recess them down so that they're flush. And if you do that, they just tend to not wear out your pocket as much. If you're taking it in and out of your pocket, it can start wearing out the pocket of your pants, and that's happened to those of us who've carried knives for a long time. So recessed screws would be nice. So that's another feature that they could, an area where they could improve if they're going to do another version of the bug out in the future. I would hope that they would look at that. But as far as I can think of right now, that's really the only downsides that I have that I can, you know, nitpick about this knife. Although, how could I forget the elephant in the room, right? Whenever talking about a Benchmade, which is the butterfly tax. The butterfly tax, they call it, which is just that Benchmades are not cheap. They are expensive. In fact, they tend to be a little bit more expensive than their counterparts. Like if you were to find another, you know, good quality, solid, reputable knife manufacturer, like Spyderco or something else, that has the same kind of steel, the same, you know, handle material, same good quality lockup and everything, usually the other brands are a little bit less expensive. So Benchmades just tend to be on the pricier side. So in terms of overall value, it doesn't get a 10 out of 10 in my opinion, not by a long shot. Again, this one goes for $145 for a knife with basically, you know, fancy plastic handles. That's a lot for a lot of people to swallow. So that is an issue, and you know, that's just what you get with Benchmade. You're going to be paying for it, and it's not like one of those things where, oh, you get what you pay for and you have to pay this much to get a quality knife, because you really don't. I mean, you can get a cheaper knife from a different manufacturer and they're good, but that's just kind of the way it is with Benchmade. Now, in their defense, I will say this: Benchmade has some of the best customer service in the industry. If you send your knife back, they'll sharpen it for you and send it back forever, I think. And so as long as you own the knife, the warranty, if you ever have anything wrong with it, just send it back and they'll replace it. So that's probably part of what you're paying for, is just that really solid customer service, the warranty that lasts forever. If anything ever goes wrong with the knife, you know that they're backing you up. So that's that about the value. And apart from that, guys, that's kind of it. That's the Benchmade Bugout. Excellent knife overall. I'd rate this. Shoot, if I had to give it out of a 10 score, I'd probably give it a 9. I mean, it's just an excellent knife. It's so lightweight. I love lightweight knives. I didn't think I loved them that much until I got one, and it just kind of went in the pocket, and I was like, kind of forgot it was there. This isn't bulky at all. It's so slim, and it's the blade thickness is I think 0.09 inches or something like that. Yeah, blade width is 1 inch. And it's a drop point blade, you know. It's but man, it's the overall the blade length itself is 3.24. So in case any of you, I didn't go over the specs there, but in case any of you guys were curious about that, and the overall length is 7.46. So it's they do make the smaller one now. They have the Benchmade Bugout Mini, which is cool, although the color choices they have for that is kind of bizarre. So again, I had mentioned before, just having more colors and more options for the Benchmade Bugout and the Benchmade Bugout Mini, I think would be a really good play for the company to do. So if you think this one's too big for you, you could always go with the Mini, but honestly, I don't. I like little knives too. I'm a guy who likes small knives. You know, I was carrying my little Chaparral here, but it's not too big at all. It's because it's so slim and so light that it kind of carries like a much smaller knife. So I really appreciate that, because I can get a much bigger blade that can do more things in a almost like a smaller package, right? So anyway, overall, excellent knife. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll be doing a few more reviews in the future, so please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, and hit a like if you enjoyed the video. So thanks so much, everyone. Talk to you later.